What's up, guys? Ben here, and welcome to another episode of Scrap Time. I know it's been a bit, but dog days of summer and all that. So we're gonna try and do these more regularly. Chris is not to blame for that. I am to blame. So send all your hate in the YouTube comments to me as to why we haven't been doing episodes. But as always, I'm joined by my co-host, the coach of Atlanta Phase. Uh, since the last time we did the episode, he qualified for World Series of Warzone, so he's going to London in a few weeks. We got Crowder. How you
Yeah,
doing today,
dude.
Chris?
Hopefully, I don't have to go to London, bro. Warzone fucking sucks. But
What do you
other
mean?
than,
What do you mean? What do you mean? You hope you don't have to go?
bro,
What does that
Warzone, bro,
mean?
Aren't you like, isn't that like
Warzone.
guaranteed going?
Yeah, no, I'm going. But Warzone is terrible, bro. But anyway,
Oh my god.
yeah, freaking, I'm doing good. What? What, Ben?
Did you get your passport stuff sorted?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no,
Can I help you out?
no, yeah. Everything was very, very smooth. I appreciate you. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, fucking, why, dude, Warzone is just miserable. But yeah, dude, I'm doing good. Other than the Warzone stuff, other than having to play Warzone every day. JP, Sam, how we doing? How you guys doing?
Hello. Sorry,
Pretty
I'm
good, pretty
eating right
good.
now. I'm starving, bro. I apologize.
Sam's
eaten all
pulling
day.
one
I'm
of my
so
pet
sorry.
peeves. Wait,
I've not
Chris,
eaten all day.
Chris and Sam, Hurricane Hillary or Tropical Storm Hillary update. Like, how much is it rain by you guys? Wind? Anything bad?
I don't live in LA anymore. Fuck that place.
It's bad right now.
That place is fucking terrible.
Thank you. See, I'm not the only person that thinks this place sucks, dude.
Oh, that is the worst place, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking
Couldn't pay me
miserable.
money to go back there.
Yeah, dude, I
Hey,
know.
where do you live now? Are you in another state?
I'm in Virginia.
Oh
Back home.
shit! I didn't.
I literally.
He's in
I
his
moved
happy
like 2 days
place,
after
dude.
James.
I had no idea you moved across the country. Whoa.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
from Virginia. Yeah, I moved home literally 2 days after James ended.
You were probably
Yeah,
stoked to
that's
get out of
unbelievable.
here, dude. You were probably so stoked to get out of here, dude.
I literally moved home like the 23rd of June. So like literally right after James, I was out.
Smart man.
I was gone.
Yeah, smart man. Oh,
Well, then Chris, how's the fucking hurricane? Then I'll just ask you by yourself.
it's not that bad right now. I think it's supposed to get like way worse like later. I don't even think it's a hurricane anymore. I think it's like completely downgraded to like just like a tropical storm. I'm pretty sure it's like the least severe version of it right now. But it's still, this place is just not built for rain, bro. So I have no idea. Like, yeah, like the last time I was telling my chat, the last time it rained, I want to say like early February area. I don't know, maybe even like March. It rained a little bit, and like my entire ceiling was like leaking, like bad, like just from like a little bit of rain. So I have no idea what to expect. Right now, it's not terrible where I'm at, but we'll see. I'm definitely scared to see what happens if it gets really bad, though.
Well, I'm hoping I can get in tomorrow. I land at like 10:30, so I've been like looking at my flight and the flight before that to make sure my plane can get to where I'm connecting from, so I can get in the morning. So, excited for that. But let's jump in. We've got Sam and JP here, and I want to get through a couple of topics. We also got some viewer questions to shout out to people that submitted those. We'll get to those at the end. I want to start off just with a little fun kind of kickoff thing. As you guys know, I've been working with Tommy and Repulse on the King of COD tournament. We had our first two of the 5 tournament series this week. One was a 2v2 kill race that was run by Shifty and Selly. And then the other tournament, which was a 4v4 search with no sound EQ. We had like Zuma
Love
going.
your rules up.
We had like Tommy going to people's stream being like, ref Zuma here for a sound EQ check, and forcing people to like pull up their settings. And that tournament was when it was actually really exciting. There were a lot of clutches, and it went to a reset in the grand finals, and it was won by Draza, Abizi, Rated, and Aiden.
Zach got the fastest kill I think I've ever seen in Modern Warfare 2
Dude.
history.
Bro, that
On
final
Tupac.
kill on Pac, Chris,
Yeah.
did you see it?
Mhm.
That was bad.
JP, did you guys see it? Was
I don't think I saw it.
Bro, he killed him, JP. It was on B-bomb on a silo or A-bomb on a silo. He was on like just like the little pillar heady thing outside of the window and literally killed him in like 2 bullets. He like pop shotted him to where you hit like maybe one and he killed him like that fast. I was mind blown. Poor guy.
Great game.
great
DK,
great
bro.
game. But yeah, so that's been a fun series, and we've got another kill race coming up, as well as a 4 hard point this week, which I'm excited for. And Tom, Hector, and I are going to be watch partying that in person. So actually, my like thought on King of COD was one, thoughts on the tourney so far, and two, this one probably to you, Sam, because you've watched a bit of it. Like, what are your thoughts on Shifty? I think if there's one player that had a really good week last week, it was him. He was looking really nice in search. Like, I wonder, and we were kind of joking on the stream if he might want to give a go at like challengers next year or respawn, and maybe see if he can get on a CDL team.
I mean, I don't really know anything about the Warzone players to be honest with you, barring like what I watched the other day. The only one that I like know for a fact could probably compete and compete well would be Diaz. But the other ones I truthfully just have no idea. Especially because like S&D, it's really hard to judge like how
Yeah.
good or bad it is. Because you could play S&D 50 times and be 50 different results, and like each team can win 25 times. It's not like
Yeah.
the skill
Yeah.
gap when it comes to S&D is pretty low. The question's always been the respawn thing. That's why I'm happy there's like a hardpoint tournament. See how these like players kind of stack up. Then again, it could just come down to a knowledge gap, and the CDL players could just like shit on them because they don't know where P2 is.
Yeah, like just
like,
rotating the wrong way or something.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like the question's never been S&D. It's always been respawn.
Well,
But I think
you
Shifty played well. He kind of slammed blast for
He
the
did
for the
slam
win.
blast. then he had some church for blast too at the end.
That was good. That
Yeah,
was good.
those two do not like each other. But yeah, no, Shifty's godlike. I played Warzone with him. You can just tell by watching that he's super talented. I just don't know if it's worth doing the CDL thing, to be honest with you. But I mean,
is he making good money at Warzone? I don't know.
I mean, he wins a bunch of tournaments and stuff, and it just depends. Like, it just really depends on like how much that you care about streaming. Like, if you're gonna stream and all that stuff, like the CDL world is just not worth it. And like, Shifty's one of the best Warzone players, but like, I think I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure him and his like 2 other people that he plays with won the last like 3 Vondel 100K. Like, bro, like they win like a shit ton of tournaments. It's just more or less like how much you care about streaming. But yeah, if he's gonna keep winning in Warzone,
just keep doing what you're doing at that point.
Yeah, that like, bro, Warzone 2, like what I said earlier in this, like, man, like I love Call of Duty, but Warzone 2 is bad, bro. Like it is.
Why is it so bad?
It's just, well, it's just got hackers everywhere. It's just a miserable game.
Bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like one of the games where it's just like, dude, it doesn't even feel like COD. It's just everyone throws smokes at their feet and runs in circles, and
Dude,
like it's like, yeah, bro, like it's not real. It's not actual COD. And like if that's the case, like, bro, if Warzone whatever is next is better, then like, yeah, you don't do something like that. Yeah, you've been watching the knife clips, Sam? Is that what you're talking about?
Dude, I'm trying to remember. I think I was watching Joe or someone the other day, and I think it was you, Joe, and someone else, and you guys just threw like 17 smokes on like one 3v3, and I'm like,
that's what everyone does, bro.
That
you
looks
literally
terrifying. Like that looks like I would punch a hole in my monitor if I streamed that.
Dude, yeah, I'm telling you, it's just like it doesn't feel like you're playing Call of Duty at all. I mean, that's a reason why no one really likes it, and so it's a reason why it's not very successful, like viewers wise. But it's just like,
Yeah.
dude. But to my point, it's like, yeah, if Warzone 2 can survive, like if the next version of Warzone's good and someone like Shifty's winning a bunch and he cares about streaming, like that's a better route. Like just being honest right now, unless the CDL challenger scene just becomes more legit, because I feel like the challenger scene is an absolute pit. I wouldn't recommend anyone going. Yeah, that's what I mean. I wouldn't recommend anyone going to that shit.
The beginning of the season is just the way the format is, and Elite doesn't really start until after New Year's if it's coming back.
Yeah.
And like that's pretty good, but you got to get in there, and it's not that not that easy.
And I assume it's a lot of like politicking and stuff too.
Oh, for sure is, bro. There's the friend circles. The friend circles definitely go from the CDL
down there. It's
insane. Bro, people talk about friendship league in the CDL. The challengers is like legitimately the friendship world. Like, dude, that is crazy.
Dude, I feel like the only like it's kind of like all your eggs in one basket situation, but I feel like if they have another pro-am like they did last year, I would legitimately start the season going hard as fucking challengers, like trying to play variant. Even if I am a Warzone streamer, like I would go 100%, and then like if I show up to that pro-am and fry like that, and if I don't get picked up, I just go back to Warzone. But if I fry at that pro-am and I get like a legitimate opportunity,
you get some looks.
Yeah. But like if you don't, like fuck it, just go back to Warzone.
Yeah, because you can stream that for a month or two. Yeah, like you can go for 2 months and it doesn't work out. Just go into Warzone again. Like that, you're playing pub kids over there. You're fine. Like you're not gonna worry about that. But like no, it's just, and also like, dude, like the challengers, dude, just all the preparation that goes into that, even like without the politicking, is like you show up to the event. What did it happen 2 or 3 times this year where like the spawns changed and the challengers players had to play? It's like, bro, like even if you do fry and you prepare and you get all ready and then you just show up on a weekend, they're like, yeah, well, instead of spawning here, you spawn over here now. Good luck. Like
new patch for champs. Like,
yeah, it's just like, bro, that stuff's not fair to those guys. Like, it's so hard to recommend people to do that with the state that it's in. But I don't know. Hopefully that changes one day. But that shit is tough.
In regards to Shifty, like we were talking about with repos, obviously Hector's pretty close with Shifty. You know, like I think when Shifty was getting accused of cheating, like Hector's taking a lot of the wing, the land thing, like so the guy's legit. And Hector was saying that, like, you know, Shifty would love to be on a CDL team, but to your point, Chris, there's all that other stuff.
He's got the talent for sure. He definitely has it. He's good.
You watch him play, like especially I thought Tommy was very impressed with his gameplay. Like, Tom was watching him play. He's like, oh, this kid.
No,
he definitely
good.
like shoots straight, has good movement. Like to your point though, like you know, S&D or to Sam's point, like S&D can be kind of random. Respawn is knowledge gap, understanding how to play fundamental COD, playing off your teammates, communication. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of factors there that if you don't play regularly, it's going to be a tough uphill. So we'll see. But excited for more parts of this tournament. We got 2 more this week, and then on September 1st is the big CDL versus Warzone one that will include CDL game modes, Warzone game modes, and we'll find out who's better, CDL or Warzone. I have a very I'll say my last thought on it. The other person that impressed me this week is Rated, and I will not be surprised.
Yo, he was slamming.
If Reese somehow
Wait.
finds the right duo and wins this tournament.
Chris, he was
No,
fucking slamming, bro.
But like,
I
bro,
saw a few clips of him too.
I feel, but I also I forget who I was talking to about Rated, but like, Rated could also just be in the league, talent wise. If Rated were to step back in the league right now, which I think he wants to, the reason why he's not in the league is because get politicking. Period. Like he doesn't get along with everybody. That's 100% what it is. But like, if he were to step back in the league right now as an AR, he is not the worst AR in the league. He's not even close. Like talent wise, like
he's the worst AR in the league.
I don't even know the teams yet, but I'll let you know soon. But that's what I mean. Like he could easily do that shit, like very, very easily. But Sam, I would have said you, but you're retired.
Fuck.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like rated slamming people doesn't surprise me. Like bro, he didn't stop competing because he was bad. Like he wasn't even close to being done. It's just
he was telling people to suck his.
Yeah, he's fucking roasting people all the time, bro.
I think what hurt Reese because to CDL Pal's point in the chat. I know CDL Pal, just Star Wars watching the CDL. It's like Rated was on those really good Red Reserve teams, in like IW and World War II. And unfortunately, when that org blew up in Black Ops 4, like his team situation became a bit tenuous. He lost his teammates. He got on a team. They were pretty solid. They actually he was on units, right, champs? They made a pretty solid run.
So. Yeah.
And then I think he just got put in the fucking blender when year 0 of the CDL. And then, Warzone came out and he committed to that and, was one of the best people off the rip and he's kind of run it since. But I agree with you, Chris. Like Reese, I don't think the skill has disappeared and like he's got all the tools. If he wanted to go back and got away on our team as a mini AR, like I think he'd be impactful in all game modes,
Yeah, I mean, one of the lesser teams, like if that's what you're really trying to do and like trying to actually like form a team that doesn't suck and just gets bottom 4 and has no chance, like that's what you should be looking at is like actually bringing people back that are good and have your history and have your knowledge of like what you should do, like people like him. But that's probably never gonna happen. But
and the person in my chat who's saying Raids like beans, I don't think they're similar players.
Not even close. What?
I don't think
that's
so.
that's the farthest thing from a comparison at all. What? That was what?
No. Just because they're
my bad, guy in chat.
Yeah, that was horrible, bro. Yeah, that was crazy.
They're not similar. Like what? Like bro, what? Nah, Ray was like very much. I think he was just like a lot of the kind of first generation European players. Like he definitely wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's a very a good leader of his team. Like, and I think part of the reasons why those Red Reserve teams got good every year is those guys grinded in Europe. They got to a position where they'd qualify for the league. They'd come over to NA and they would just absorb and learn from the best of the practice in NA. And those guys were always competitive. They unfortunately never really were able to like get wins. They had a bunch of really tough. And didn't you guys beat them at one point in the finals in like World War II? Was it World War II or?
That was PK. That was Anaheim.
I was Anaheim.
Yeah. But like the reset Arden's hard point.
Dude, that was crazy. Wasn't there a crazy ass hard point?
Yeah.
Like it ended on the P1 or whatever.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
Like they were always really tough out teams, and so I was very impressed for Reese this weekend again. When we get to the CDL versus Warzone part, and they've got to play Warzone kill races and like S&D and then a 1v1. Like if Reese can find a really good Warzone teammate, like I will not be surprised if they somehow.
Well, him and Aiden play like everything together, right?
Yeah, him and Aiden are like the duo. Yeah.
I just think Aiden didn't have the best of performances in the grand final, but that's fine because he had Draws and Abizi on his team. Like he's just filling gaps. So it's going to be, that's where the CDL versus Warzone thing's going to get interesting. It's like, are they going to trade game modes and to come down to the 1v1, which is the last game mode? Who's going to win that one? So we shall see. That'll be on September 1st. But anyway, let's move on. JP, I want to get you in the mix here. I have some questions for you.
Sure.
Because I think you haven't done a lot of interviews recently, and I want to talk because there's obviously been some news about your team, but I wanted people to learn more about you. Like you and I have known each other for fucking forever. And I want you to very briefly explain, because I don't think people know kind of how you ended up on OpTic, like your journey to here from MLG. So if you want to like give kind of your spiel.
Oh, we're going all the way back?
Yeah,
All
if
the
you
way
want to
back,
give like
baby.
a 2-minute version of it or a 5-minute version.
Yeah, I mean, so basically once like Ghost started, we started COD Stats. It was like a Reddit post that Puckett had made, and it was a bunch of us like just hopped in a Skype call and started tracking and doing stats for like the league. I got super lucky because I was in New York and the MLG offices were in New York City. So it was like a train ride in, like 10-minute walk for me after the train. And I hit up Puckett. I was like, yo, can I like tour the MLG offices or something? And he was like, yo, bet, like, I'm down, like, come in. I ended up like working there over my freshman winter break as like an intern and just helped write that the esports report, like sports center type show that they were
It
doing.
was a great show. Great show.
Rest in peace to the
And
esports.
It was like
report, man.
like
Yeah,
Will,
straight up.
you and like Will, like who was producing the show at the time?
Wasn't it
Yeah,
Ethan?
Will, Brian.
Wasn't Ethan there?
Ethan was an intern when I was working there too. And then it was like, you know, Ben, Puckett, Mr. X, they're all casting the stuff. And yeah, so from that I got the connection to like actually help out at events, starting with I want to say 2015 AW Champs was my first event, just helping out production side there. And then from there I was just pretty much going to school, and then on the weekends where the events would take place, it was like a cool side gig where I could just fly out, you know, Thursday night after classes and then work the weekend and then come back. And yeah, so I did that up until like BO4, and then New York actually hit me up in the middle of before BO4 season, stay with them for a few seasons, and then got the OpTic offer.
New York hit a lot of people up in the middle of that Black Ops 4 season, including players.
Yes, they did.
And I was just like,
Yes,
we
they
met
did.
Farzan for the first time. I'm like, nice to meet you, Farzan. I'm like, by the way, like our players are still on a contract, just be careful. But
That shit
nah,
was
like
hilarious.
people got to remember, we talk about like, and I think people take stats for granted now, like what you and Doug and a bunch of other people were doing like back in the day, on top of your official duties, kind of driving stats for broadcast, like the service you were offering the community in terms of stats. Like I think that was an invaluable resource. I'm sure some of the teams use it as well, because this is like way before people had full-time analysts. And a lot of teams had real coaches. So like that data was super key to folks. So I just want people to give that story, because I think a lot of people, you know, don't know about that journey. What I wanted to all get into is a little bit of sort of the off season around your team. And whenever I ask, one of the things I always to ask for as far as off season question goes is less of like the sort of generic ones. And I want to more understand it from your POV, because again, you're in a unique spot as far as sort of the front office, back office of the team, and you're not, you know, one of the players. So just from like a dynamic standpoint, you know, starting with COD Champs to you guys kind of announcing Pred and Kenny, like how that went from your POV, like what, how do you contribute to that conversation? And
I mean, to
decision
me,
making?
it's not much of a decision. I'm just getting basically text updates from Ant. Like
The warlord, dude.
yeah, I'm getting
he's like, yeah,
text
we're going
updates.
for this.
Like he's like,
warlord.
yeah, like I discussed this and we were talking with each other, and then I was like, yeah, just keep me updated. Like I'm good with whatever. I'm down with
Ants
whoever we
running
want to
shit
go
over there.
with. You know? So I wasn't really part of any of the decision making process for that. I was just, you know, constantly getting updates. So I can't really speak too much on how everything went down, because, you know, one text we're getting this squad, another text we're getting this squad. So it was just a blur.
Yo,
to
we're
me
getting
until,
Pred. Yo, we're still getting Pred. Yo, Seattle's gonna sell us Pred. Don't worry, guys. We're good. We can stop streaming. Seattle's gonna give us
and I
Pred.
haven't heard from you for 3 days. What's happening? Like,
Yeah, guys on like 10-mile runs and then hitting you with a text with the update. It seems like so he wasn't like being like asking for like your perspective on it. It was more like him and Bruce sort of figuring it out.
yeah, I would assume so. I think
Okay.
we had already talked about it like briefly, like after champs, but from there it was like them taking over with that type of stuff.
I want to ask from your perspective, now that you've made those changes and from your angle and like how you contribute, like what do you think that Ken and Pred are going to do as a positive to your current team culture that you have with Ann and Bruce?
Well, first, I think I've only spoken to them a few times. We actually went over to Seth's house for like a little pool party type thing, and I spoke to Ken for the first time, and I think he is going to be super beneficial for our squad, because like we were just talking maybe for like a couple hours, like all of us, but the way that he sees the game, I didn't really know like how he saw the game, but we were talking about situations and stuff, and I was like, okay, this is gonna work. And we were talking about like what he brings and what he likes to do in sort of like a team basis, and in terms of like what happens like after a map in practice and that type of stuff. And I was like, I'm fully on board with what you're talking about. So for sure, like I'm super excited to have Ken on. AG, I don't know too much about. I've only talked to him a couple times, but from his playmaking abilities, I mean, there's nothing bad I could say about his
from his
gameplay.
1.2s, he seems like a pretty good Call of Duty
I
player.
mean, the kills say for itself. So, like, I think him and Ant create a cool dynamic because like they could not be more different of players. I think. I see a lot of times where people are like, "Oh, they're like the same player." I'm like, I don't know what
They're
you're
actually
watching
polar opposite
because I
players.
think they're literally. I don't think
Yeah.
you can get more different. And I think that'll create a cool dynamic between those two. So I'm just like super excited to get rolling with the squad. I wish we had less time until the game came out, but we're still 3 months away.
Dude, it's crazy how much
Dragon,
time
dude.
we have.
It's Dragon.
It is so nuts. Is
It's
this this is the longest off season ever, right? Like by far.
By far.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy. Because usually, isn't it like right around now is when champs actually happens?
Yeah, it would have just happened.
It would have like just happened, right?
It would have just happened like a week or two ago. Yeah.
Man, I feel like we missed an event this year, dude. I feel like we could have got one more in.
We just started super early.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But do you think they could have like staggered out like the majors or something, or like the stages? So that
Well, they just
could've,
removed the breaks last year from last year. That's the
Yeah,
only format
exactly.
change they made. They just removed the break, the 2-month-long breaks that we had for no reason last season.
Mhm.
That's all
Yeah.
they did.
You know, this has been rough.
All right, so here's an issue. We need to put pause on podcast. My fire alarm, my building's going off.
Yes,
So
it
what
is,
do you
Ben.
guys
We
wanna
hear
do?
that.
Do we want to put pause and let Roberto edit? And I gotta just like dip for a second until it stops.
Oh, that's
Wait, are you actually
Like,
leaving?
yeah. Well, what do you want me to do? Like,
Just
it's
muscle
it's
through it,
going,
bro.
It's going off.
There's no fire.
Bro,
Hustle through it, Ben.
Bro, you want to hustle through it? Well, I'm not gonna be able to speak much, but I mean, Chris, you want to just take over with the questions then? You
I'm
don't
kidding,
mind?
Ben. If you want to leave, you can leave. I'm not gonna make you stay.
Yeah,
Dude,
don't
dude,
go
there
on
could be a
fire.
fire in your building. I'm
Sirens going
kidding,
off in the
bro.
background
Ben and I are
anyway.
matching. Let's go.
Like I'm
I'll
kidding,
stay.
Ben. Like I don't know.
I'll stay. I'll
You
stay.
see the
There's no-
flames coming through the door behind Ben. No,
Nah,
guys,
nah,
we're good.
No, guys, keep going. Like
I'll stay, but like it's just
they'll
gonna be
edit the
going off.
flames out of the podcast.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
don't
God.
worry about it.
Oh,
Because what do you-
Ben, you can leave.
Ben,
do you guys
it's
wanna
literally,
do?
it's literally up to you. This is your situation. I'm not gonna tell you to stay in your building with the fire alarm going off.
All right, well, I gotta go. I guess you guys want to put a pin in. I'll be back in like
Yeah,
5
we
minutes.
can just
Cool.
chill, bro. We can
We'll
talk
hang
to
out.
chat. We're vibing, bro.
All right,
We're
I'll
vibing.
be
Oh my gosh,
on my phone. I guess looking at the chat. I'll be right back.
that is
Hopefully.
hilarious. No
Should I
fucking
should I
shot.
stay?
Should I?
Yeah,
Should I,
like,
should
bro.
I stay?
I said muscle through it, and he thought he was like, all right, like I'm dude, like there could be a
Guys,
fire
I
in your
don't
building.
know.
Hey, that
I'm
shows
currently
commitment, though.
burning to
That
the
shows
ground, But I'm
commitment.
gonna go ahead and just stick the podcast out.
Dude,
He was willing to do it, so fucking.
Just like see
tip-
smoke in the
tip that.
background. It's like, dude, what's going on? He's not even leaving, bro. I see him in the background there.
What's this guy doing?
What's this guy
Lining
doing?
up a putt? Out here for
Yeah,
it.
bro. If he lined up a putt before he left his fucking room, that would be the end of this shit. Holy hell.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
We should've told Ben to just
someone in my
get out.
chat just said I lived in an apartment that fire alarm went off for 38 straight days.
I'm
I would've
not
moved
going
out.
down after the
I would've
third.
moved
Holy
out.
shit.
I would have moved.
Yo, we're having an earthquake right now. Holy shit.
Oh, you just got an earthquake?
Yes.
earthquake?
Yes, it's still
Nah,
going.
bro.
That's actually
Nah.
fucking insane.
Live
LA's
earthquake?
having earthquakes. Ben is on fire.
Holy
There's
fuck.
a hurricane
bro.
about
Sam
to hit
got out the right
California.
time, dude.
Bro.
I am
You
weary
got out
of
the
my
right
surroundings
time.
right now. I'm fucking no
what
one
the
move.
fuck?
All
Bro,
right, so
that
we
was
got
a
two
crazy
natural
fucking
disasters.
shake.
We got 2 natural disasters out of the way. We're
That was
looking
a
for another
crazy
one.
dude, that was the craziest earthquake I've felt.
Yo,
That was
Sam
nuts.
dipped when hell started spawning into
Bro.
fucking California.
I'm about to see the tiny terrorist slide
Yo,
canceling down my block.
emergency alert, earthquake detected, drop cover, hold on and protect yourself.
Welcome back, Ben.
Oh, he's back.
Nice. Chris just had an earthquake, Ben.
Yeah. That was nuts.
Your mic's also muted.
He's muted.
All right, Ben. We're tweaking. Look at him. He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah,
He's scrambling.
He
He's
said,
scrambling.
"All right, bet."
He said, "Wow, what the fuck's going on?"
Holy, bro.
That's
Listen,
insane, bro.
that was like I felt a few here while living here, but that one was like the whole house was moving, bro.
Oh shit.
That was nuts.
It's like San Andreas
All
fall
right,
moves.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. Sorry
Chris just had
about
an
that.
earthquake. You're on fire. Like we're trying.
Yeah.
We're,
We're back
Did-
though.
did
We're back
Chris-
in action.
Wait,
Yeah,
did you
Cal-
actually have an
yeah,
earthquake?
Cali's had a pretty crazy earthquake.
Dude, his house was shaking.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Anyway, so OpTic
Wait.
Kenny.
Anyhow, OpTic Kenny, how is he going to help the team? Here, listen, I'll kick it off, bro. I know exactly where we were in the outline. So, yeah, dude. So, Ben wants to know. I guess this is weird for me to ask you, considering our positions here. But yeah, Ben wants to know what the biggest thing the team needs to work on this season, like going into the next one with the new roster and stuff. I don't know. I shouldn't be asking
mean
this.
by that,
So, like,
Chris?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Well, yo,
yeah,
JP, what you got to
you're
work on over there?
Oh,
Jeez.
Chris, what you mean by that?
I mean, becoming a team, like
Yeah.
it's two completely new people
Mhm.
joining another two completely new people that they've never played with. Well, I guess Ken and Brandon for a little bit, but everyone's new to each other. So yeah, that was fake for sure. Just being a team.
I mean, it's so hard.
Yeah.
There's, like, you don't really know what to work on yet. Like, you don't have
Yeah,
your
we haven't even
problems yet.
spawned in yet.
You'll figure it out in 4
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, you'll see. We'll talk
Yeah, yeah.
talk to us in
It'll
5
be-
months here, and we'll
Yeah,
get
it'll
this.
be 3
podcast
months.
back up.
4
Yeah.
months.
Call me back in 3 months.
Nah, but I think that's really it on it. Well, we need to circle back around it, but JP just wanted to address a few things. I think the bulk of this show is going to be about the reveal. Obviously a lot has come out in the last couple of days. There were leaks. Well, prior to there were people playing the game last week. We went to San Francisco. Seems like some CDL players, some Warzone players, some content creators went out to Sledge and played the game. There was obviously the in-game reveal event this week, culminating with the trailer. There's been a blog and press release from Activision, as well as some other information that has come out. So taking a look at the feature list, it's actually a lot of W's on the surface of it. So we're going to have on launch 16 maps that are all maps that are remastered, reimagined, I guess, in quotes, for Modern Warfare 2009. So we'll get to that in a second. War mode's coming back for the pub stars. Map voting. Pat was trying to argue on the flank that this is like vote to skip. It seems like it's actual map voting, so that's a W. Red dots coming back. W. Shouldn't have left in the first place. 150 health. We'll talk about that in a second, what that means. Advanced movement. Shotzi's back, so that's good. Gear perks. So it sounds like basically they brought back the perk system, but instead of just having like perk 1, perk 2, perk 3,
I
they're
swear
like
to God.
boots.
Flak jacket is on the boots, bro.
this
Swear to God.
is like Sam's big thing. Like he's done with COD. If it's
Because I have
like-
no faith. I have no faith
Yeah.
that they're not going to fuck it up.
I mean,
It's hard not
would be,
to.
that would be tragic.
I am scorned.
But Sam, we're getting all perks activated at the start of the match.
Doors
That's
are
gotta
back.
be
Did
a
you see the
W,
link
right?
today? Doors are
Yeah,
back.
doors back
Oh, I
today.
did see that.
Is dolphin diving apparently is in?
Yeah.
That was came out on Twitter. So I want to start. I know Sam and I talked a lot about this on Flank, but JP, I want to start with you first. Like your thoughts from your perspective on the feature list. Like, what do you think about what we're getting about the new game coming soon?
Starting with anything or like the maps or
We'll get to maps in a second. Let's talk about everything else, then we'll have a second conversation about maps.
I mean, a lot of the changes seem good. I just don't know why they took them out in the first place. Like,
Yeah.
if they were gonna make those
I don't
changes,
know
like
if
you'd
those
think it would be
franchise-
like you'd think it would be like, oh, we have a specific decision that we're making based off of specific data, but like to go back and like after 1 year from that just makes no sense to me because
Because
like
IW is fueled by the hatred of the fans. That's why.
I don't know, but I'm glad it's back regardless. So I'm happy that those changes are being made. For the maps themselves, I like the idea of the maps being brought back, but I just don't know if they're going to work with like how COD is now, with like
That's kinda
tac
what we said on
sprint
the
and
phone.
Yeah.
how fast it's going to be. Like,
Bro, Scrapyard's smaller than Bow Cage.
yeah,
Oh,
like,
Scrapyard's not gonna be a
dude,
map. No shot.
No.
Yeah.
Like even high rise, it could be like play completely different.
Mhm.
So I don't know. There was a leak that was like, oh, maybe they've scaled it to accommodate that, but I don't know how true that is, and
Yeah.
I would wonder how that would play out. But I'm just afraid that it wouldn't work with, or it'll be hard to work with those maps.
I think the only like even if they didn't change it, I think the only maps that would be playable would be like Terminal Invasion.
Yeah, like the bigger maps where it's,
maybe
like- Yeah.
sub base. I think sub base might be played.
Yeah,
But sub base
like a
visibility
sub
is
of
kinda
hard
ass.
point or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
If they keep the visibility relatively the same from MW2, that shit was horrible. So I don't know if they're gonna do that or not.
That's true too. I mean, I think a lot of the maps too, like the tax rating and stuff, is all like a super good point too. Like a lot of it's going to play a lot faster than what we used to be used to. I
Yeah.
just think like it also just depends. Like, and I'm hoping this is me coping right now, but I'm hoping like with these new maps, like kind of just being remade and probably done quickly, like they can actually focus on some other aspects of the game, aka the spawn system and other stuff that also like you can
Yeah.
take. I mean, bro, I'm coping so hard right now, but like.
Nice one.
Dude, like it's just
Sam
it's
was
just,
like, no
yeah, no,
chance.
that's try like but it's just like something because like dude, like as good as the maps can or cannot be, like if the spawn system sucks, it could take the best maps, for example, Terminal or Invasion, and just make them miserable anyway. So it just really depends on
100%.
like It just depends
Yeah.
on so much other things that like I'm hoping that they don't have to spend some resources making maps that usually suck anyway, and just like kind of start from the other stuff too. To be honest, because
They
like
put all their effort in before it hits 0.
I
And
mean-
making the maps that they
I
already
mean,
have
bro,
good.
we didn't even have maps. Like we were grasping at freaking straws this season to get
Yeah.
maps.
Yeah.
Like we were actually like grasping at straws.
Like
to add
last 2
nothing.
years, dude, I honestly was like, when it first got announced, I was like,
Yeah,
oh, maybe this is actually better because like at least we know these maps are like somewhat
somewhat
doable. Like,
decent.
we
yeah.
can make it work.
I don't know, bro. Like it's just like it's tough. And like for the rest of the stuff too that we're talking about, like I feel like a lot of the stuff that we're also happy about should never be taken out again. It should just not be allowed. Like
That's why I
Yeah.
refuse to give them credit for
That-
bringing it back.
that-
Everyone's so
that's-
happy.
no,
I
like,
refuse-
I'm
I
happy.
refuse
Listen,
to
I'm happy.
give them credit.
yeah, I'm not giving them credit. I'm very happy that it's back, and like I'm definitely happy that we're trending back towards the right direction. Again, this could all change in a year or two when it just goes back the other way. But like, it's just like, yeah, like everything that all the announcements we've gotten have just been like, oh, like guys, Call of Duty's Call of Duty again.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says, bro. Modern Warfare 2 just doesn't feel like COD. Like you're strafing, you move slow, it's clunky. Like it just didn't feel in any way like a version of Call of Duty that was boots on the ground back in the day. So like everything they brought back is cool. I'm happy about it, but I hope that them bringing back normal stuff to COD and then not having to spend so much time on these maps help them just like focus on the stuff that actually matters for the game to play good now. You know, spawns and all the other stuff too. But we'll see. We shall see.
All
'Cause
good. We
I-
cope. The cycle
yeah, I'm
continues.
coping. Yeah, exactly. Like, but I do think I feel like I said this the last 2 years, but I do think the standard has been set pretty low to the point where now,
The bar's in hell. for
yeah,
sure.
like there's no way MW3
Bars-
as just tragic as what
definitely
we've
hell.
dealt with. But we'll see.
Yeah. Hard
Let me.
to know.
I'm gonna run in my room really quick just to check on one thing. I'll be like actually 30 seconds, so you're good. You guys can keep
That's-
talking if you want.
it's
I'll
all
be right
good.
back. Hold up.
So maps, we'll see. I mean, there's been some chatter that maybe the maps have been resized a little bit. We probably won't know until the beta, and then even then, I don't know how many maps we're getting in the beta. So that will be interesting. You know, if they made Scrapper maybe a little bit bigger, we maybe can play.
How many beta maps do you usually get? Like 3, 4?
Yeah, like 3 or 4.
I remember how many we got
Three,
with MW2.
three,
Like that, I'm
three
back.
off the rip. If we have 3 and then we get a 4th map in January, like we've made that work. Like Cold War, like the map pool didn't get really good until Ray got added. Remember?
Yeah.
Like, we were
Yeah.
kind of grasping straws at the beginning of the season there too. So, like, if we can get 3 solid off the rip with decent spawn system, like we can definitely make that work, and then get a 4th ideally, in the beginning of winter or I guess January, whatever we want to call it. But I want to also talk about the 3rd game mode because, like, thinking about these maps and where control points go, it's difficult, and we know that CTF and was a game mode that was in Modern Warfare 2. I know also demo was, but I don't think we're playing demo as a 3rd game mode. Could you guys see a world if people are open to it and the rules are right and the spawns work that CTF comes back next season as a 3rd game mode?
I
Start with you,
pray.
Chris.
This control
Yeah.
sucks.
Dude, yeah, control's tough, dude. Like I feel like
sucks.
control has the ability to be good, but once again, like just
We need
the
specialists.
spawns and other stuff and specialists. There's so much other stuff that has to go into it. I like CTF. I think CTF is a good game mode when it's made correctly. I don't know what I missed
Yeah.
right before, but like the problem with CTF in like World War II, for example, you get rewarded for dying by spawning on the flag point. And like when you play Ardennes Forest, you'd get a kill at the 50% like map, and like a team would like push towards the Bell side or the Ruin side, and you would just spawn on the flag and camp it. And then like obviously like you have to be like the older CODs that CTF worked for, where the better team would win more consistently in a competitive environment, where the teams that applied pressure and like got the kills and like spawned you out on the overextend. And then they would have to have the choice of wrapping back or overextending. And then there would be a constant, like you could spawn trap them and dominate if you control the map. That's how it should be. Like,
Yeah.
CTF just hasn't been made like that in such a long time. So it's like, I think CTF is a good game mode when it's made correctly. I just feel like we haven't had a Call of Duty that's done that in a very long time. So
Also super map dependent.
yeah, it
'Cause,
is
like, the
map
game mode,
dependent
like,
too.
Map and spawn.
Yeah, like it's
Like
just like so much to it. Like
the permanent listening on for CTF because it was just the most boring thing in the world to cast. Like
yeah,
a lot of the like that's what I'm thinking for MW2 because CTF and MW2 was like really good with these maps. And again, like the playstyle thing is going to change a lot with slide canceling and just the pace of the game has increased a lot. So I think that like from an entertainment perspective, it could be good.
Mhm.
But anything's better than Control, man. I think I'll take this shit to my grave. Control was only good in Black Ops 4 because it was 5v5 with specialists, and like since then, it's just been ass. Control is not an enjoyable game mode to play nor watch, in my opinion.
It went from enjoyable, and then Cold War happened, and it was like playable, but like not the best. And then Vanguard and MW2 was just like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, it was just like the maps
Like-
were just like,
like
dude,
Gavutu Control, like-
we might as well play TDM. Like,
And dude, that's what Gavutu was for the first like couple
Yeah.
months. Like literally, like just all right, just don't die and get some kills.
playing maps with 90% win rates on a side. Like, what are we
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, like I don't know. So it's like, yeah, I just feel like they haven't made that game mode correctly either. So it's like I think CTF would be a good shout if they just made it a little bit more competitive. Because even like the way these maps played back in the day, CTF was like really fun. Like, yeah, even in these games, like bro, like you would push one side, get kills, and spawn them out. And if you died, you're like, damn, they're gonna get a flag. You know what I mean? Like they think they got it, they're out.
Like,
Where-
we're either wrapping back and only respond or we're owing.
Yeah.
That's how
and
Docs. That's how
yeah.
Docs was.
Bro, but even
Nah,
like
you spawn on the street, they pull your flag. You're
yeah,
like, oh, shit.
and that was probably the most vetoed CTF map out of
Oh,
the
it was.
three.
People
The
hated
shit
playing
was
it.
Because people hated
to
playing it.
watch though, because it was like 7 halves.
But then you would play Flak Tower, you would get 7 waves of kills, and everyone just kept spawning on the
They
flag.
spawn
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. You're just like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like,
To this
So-
day, I still talk about that, Chris, the Flak Tower CTF, that the best Flak
Oh,
Tower
dude.
CTF that was ever played. That was
that
never
no
on
one
stream.
saw when it was us versus Envy. Yeah,
FaZe and Envy with 2 replays.
dude.
Great
uh,
example as to why
That's what I mean.
CTF in that game was tough.
It's just like it could be done. Like I think it's a better. I think when Control and them are made correctly, I think CTF is better. But I just don't think it. I don't know. I have such little faith that they'll ever do that shit again. It's so hard not
So-
to.
So let's game this out, right? Let's assume maybe CTF doesn't work, controls iffy. Like, do you think there is starting to be some momentum amongst teams to really pressure the league and being like, listen, I know we want a 3rd game mode, but like, let's try to figure out how to make hardpoint S&D work in a 5-game series and just those 2 modes.
I mean,
Do
there
you
was
think there's-
serious discussions about it last
There
year.
was, yeah.
Mhm.
There was
How-
very serious discussions about hardpoint S&D last year.
how
Well,
serious?
Like we were talking, like
really
it got to the point
close.
where we were figuring out like series how things would go with vetoes, advantage, like who would pick the whether 3 S&Ds, 2 hard points. Like it almost got to the point with how poor our map pool was with Control that like teams were voting on if they would rather have 3 hard points or 3 S&Ds last year.
Yeah. But here's a question for you though. This is like the biggest one, and I'm curious to hear all of your opinions on this, and even chat. What should it be? 3 S&Ds or 3 hard points?
Ooh.
That's like the toughest question.
I see. I don't
mean,
think
that
this is.
is
I don't
so
think this is a
tough.
tough question personally.
Really?
But
It should
I-
be 3 S&Ds.
I
think.
disagree. I think for the
No, 'cause
I
it's
think
your
I think the
place to
entertainment.
respawn.
I think the entertainment value of it, yes. But I think 3 hard points by far is the more skilled team wins majority of the time.
It's
Personally,
just tough because there's like you're either most of the time in COD, it's very hard to be good at all 3 game modes.
of course.
You're either really good at S&D or you're like you excel in respawn. So like the format would determine so many more series as opposed to like the competitive integrity of having 3 different game modes.
Hmm.
It's like you
Yeah.
could play a team that's just unreal at hardpoint. Like we'll use like my LG team in IW,
Yes.
for example. We were fucking terrible at S&D. If we go into every series having 3 hardpoints,
Oh,
we
you
were,
guys
like,
would have got like
arguably the best. That would have been insane. But like we shouldn't be able to get far in a tournament being good at 1 game mode. That like
I agree.
but at the same time, if you're really good at S&D and there's 3 S&Ds, you can just win the tournament because the S&D skill gap at the highest level is pretty insane. So like
It is
where like that's where like the disconnect happened last year was like how do we actually make the decision on what game mode gets 3 type or 3 maps?
Mhm.
That's where like who the fuck is just bias.
I just
If
think
I was voting, I'd pick hardpoint because holy shit.
I personally think hardpoint. I guess just from my perspective, I just think the usually the most dominant teams like throughout the histories of COD are dominant at respawn because they're just the dominant team. Like they're just the better team. They apply pressure. They have the talent. They know how to make it work. And like that's how it should be, in my opinion.
I think like competitive.
I think if you play 10 hard points, bro, the hard point team usually wins majority of them. Where if you play 10 searches, like I feel like you have a better chance of like
yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
is
agree with
true
that.
though, but I feel like at the very, very highest end, S&D like wins out. Because like I think it like competitive integrity wise, I think it should be 3 S&Ds because S&D, while hardpoint, like it's a lot easier to steal a respawn against like a good respawn team than it is to steal an S&D against like FaZe last year. Like if you were
Yeah.
bad at S&D last year, you were getting 6-0'd by FaZe. Like that, like those maps wouldn't have even been close. But like my team was in, like relatively good at hardpoint and has been really good at hardpoint in the past. But like we've had extremely close games, and like teams that just weren't great at hardpoint would play us super close. But like again,
Well-
when we were when I was on poor S&D teams and we would play FaZe, bro, I'd drop donuts. Like we would get fucking shit stomped. So like I think that like entertainment value, I think Hardpoint would probably be better as like just from a viewer perspective, at least from my opinion. But I think that like S&D would play out. The better team would win, I think, in 3 S&Ds more often.
You think so? I think the better team. I think the better team would win in Hardpoint.
So it's like this conversation just proves like why it can't happen.
No, yeah, exactly. This would never end.
It's almost
it's also
game dependent, like
for sure
to an extent.
Zach said anyone can hold a P3
because there are some games. There's some games where I think like if we're talking about World War II and we ditch fucking CTF, I kind of almost agree with Sam. I think the 3 S&Ds might be more indicative, but like the last couple of games, like Hardpoint over S&D. And this is my next question: is like, did it ever get to this conversation? Do you think the conversation should be in the vetoes determines Hardpoint or S&D as a third game mode as far as a
that's what a lot of people.
I think that's
where the conversation was ending.
That's where it
last
got
year.
to.
Instead of it was just like a blanket, it's always going to be one or the other. I think it was like seeding would determine, but even then, that just seems insane to me. Like determining
that seems
a game
like
mode that's played is fucking
veto
crazy.
advantage. Yeah.
But sometimes the craziest ideas are the best, Sam. You never fucking know.
It also changes your way of like how you form a team completely. Like for example, like if we were to go to this year and it was only Hardpoint S&D, everyone that just made roster changes are just gonna be like, oh shit, like, you know, like what the hell? We just formed the whole team on this, and that's like now this guy's awful at S&D. It's 3 S&Ds. Get this guy off the team. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot to that too. That like I feel like that decision would have to be almost like made before a season starts, because literally right now, if you're a bad S&D player and this is all of a sudden turns into 3 S&Ds, like your stock is just went completely down the drain. So it's just 100%. Like it just depends on like a lot of that stuff too. Also, I wonder if there would be a world where like maybe you also just had someone that's like really specializes in playing S&D. I wonder if that we'll ever see something like that.
on the sub spot.
Bro, I still think that's not a terrible idea. Like that Seattle team last year, like they were miserable at S&D.
Use a search player, bro. Like
no, serious. I really, this just sounds like so crazy, especially because of like just I don't know. I've never seen this in COD, but I think some of those teams could benefit from something like that. Just with if you're that miserable at that game mode, like bro, like you might as well try something. But I don't know.
JP, what do you think? We should do 3 Hardpoints or 3 S&Ds?
Yeah, what do you think, dude?
I think what Ben said was good. Where it depends on the game, but I would stick Hardpoint as a third. I think Crowder's right with the better team winning across the entire league. Like I know you're saying at the upper echelon, but if you're talking about across the entire league, I think it's easier to steal a search than it is a respawn.
I guess maybe like I'm thinking too high, like among the top 4 teams.
Yeah,
when, like they're playing someone that's like mid pack or lower. I could agree with that. Like again, I'm just using FaZe as just like the benchmark at that point though. Because like that's what the skill gap could be. You know what I mean? Like you're not the best hardpoint team in the game, like 100-point clubbing people. You know what I mean? Like you could win a hardpoint 250 to 150, and be like, damn, that was a great map. Like you play S&D against FaZe, and you're like fucking London, you're getting 6-0'd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like tough. It's just like
it is tough.
Well, this is why. Yeah, this is exactly why this conversation obviously ends here. But it's just like,
it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, no. I just feel like a lot of the times, like when you would play like a really dominant team, it's like, bro, if we steal respawn, we can win 2 searches and we can Neslo them. That's like what people like that. Like we could do that. Like, and that's like how you steal. Like, I feel like when you win in that fashion, you don't feel like you really won the series.
No,
that's my point. Where like that's why I think 3 Hardpoints, like you wouldn't be able to do that to a team. I feel like the better team would come out on top majority of the time because like maybe you win 1 Hardpoint, maybe, but like you're not winning the next 2. Like I don't know. I feel like the better team usually prevails in that world of Hardpoint. But again, it also is game dependent and stuff too, because I do feel like Modern Warfare 2 and even like a little bit of Vanguard, like stuff like the squad spawns, like some Hardpoints are a little just weird too with how the games have played. So it just depends. Like in Black Ops 4, Sam, if it was 3 Hardpoints, like, bro, there would be like
never lose a series.
I mean, dude, there would have been.
We would have went undefeated.
There would have been like 2 or 3 teams that would have just.
We would have won every.
Would have never come close, just because like I feel like that game mode and that hardpoint specifically just made sense. Like where everything was consistent. You played like the better team, bro. Like where it's like where you played search in that game a lot, and like people would just go back and forth. Like it's 2 good search teams, like you just kind of throw each other. It's like I don't know, it's like splits 50-50 a lot. I don't know.
It's definitely interesting to see because I think Control's been iffy the last couple of years, and if we don't get good control maps off the rip,
iffy is a nice term. It's been shit the last 2 years.
No, not shit.
I was trying to be a little bit polite, like demands, but my point is, I wouldn't be surprised if we circle back on this conversation if Control's poor again, and the teams in the league are like, well, we got to solve the situation. We got a first event coming up. Do we finally pull the trigger on this? One to watch. So I think that's it on New Game Talk. The beta's coming out like end of October, which kind of sucks. So hopefully we get
Oh, actually,
more.
I did want to talk about the perk thing because I think that
Yeah, go
it
ahead.
opens up like a good opportunity. I just don't know if, like Sam said, like I don't know if it's gonna be completely screwed up. But like when we were talking about Warzone, I legit had a theory was like, are they doing this to like switch up Warzone in some way where it's kind of like Apex where you pick up the gear that
Mhm.
way, and like that's what I literally just
Maybe.
theorized that when
I didn't even
he was
think about
gone
that.
away for his fire thing.
That's
I
a
didn't even
fair
think
point
about
to be
that.
honest. Yeah, that could be like something where like you pick up boots or you pick up this or you like just like to help out like certain things. That could be
Black
Yeah.
jacket boots.
I wouldn't be surprised if that theory was like somewhat correct
Holy
because
fuck
the
me.
way they did create Warzone 2 is like they literally made DMZ and they said like here's Warzone 2, like play DMZ with Warzone Battle Royale. So it's like they do play, like they do try and like combine everything into one, which is why sometimes it's such a shit show. But like yeah, that could be a thing. I hope they don't mess it up because I feel like the perk system is just so simple if you just
Yeah, it can be so simple.
yeah, like just give us some perks and keep it moving. But I don't know.
Well, I think one thing, and I haven't asked any pros about it, nor do I think they would say anything from the playtest, but like another thing that's been an issue the last couple of years is footstep volume. I'm hoping with the perks we kind of address this kind of ongoing issue, especially with the online play about how loud footsteps are and that information and how it just makes two different games that people are playing throughout the season. Like if with Ninja back and shit like that, we can get back to more of an old star COD where you can be pretty silent when you do a majority of your movement. Like that would improve. I think the
If it
skill
doesn't
depth
get
and the-
fixed, then I don't know what we're doing. I'm
I
gonna
don't
be
either.
honest.
There has to be some
Like
interference.
if
by
it's
the
not
league on a
fixed for
remote
next game,
basis.
like
Yeah.
I legit don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it would be pretty crazy. Footsteps in
Like,
Warzone.
the league would have had to figure something out for sound
But-
IQ.
See, but
Yeah.
like this is the problem though too. Is like again, like they try and combine everything because footsteps in Warzone are almost like non-existent sometimes. But like you need footsteps
Yeah.
in a game like Warzone. You can't have dead silence in a game like that. It's stupid. But like
Yeah.
in multiplayer, it's the complete opposite. And like I feel like they try and combine like both where they do the audio. So if they fix the audio in Warzone and make it really loud, then here you're like we don't have like it's just the same thing. Like I feel like they have to try and separate it some way. And again, just having a perk that makes you dead silent in multiplayer fixes that. So it's like I really hope they go that way. If we don't have some sort of like actual silent gameplay, like I would be really I wouldn't be super surprised, but I'd be really upset just because the CDL has been getting slammed by that and like sound EQ and all the PC settings nowadays. And bro, we talked about this a couple times. I'm sure JP and Sammy, you guys like know like there's like been settings that were earlier on this year that I found out about probably like a month ago when I was like working on Warzone stuff. You could like completely lower your gunshots and everything, like more than sound
like the
EQ.
Astro,
Bro,
like command center thing.
more than sound EQ. Like just like you can
Yeah.
make everything silent but your footsteps.
Yeah,
and
there's
like-
there's like an
Yeah.
Astro app that you can do that on.
It was like something crazier that the audio was like really broken for the first couple seasons. And like
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be surprised if motherfuckers were doing that. Like you just have no
Probably.
idea. Like it's like that stuff is just too much to deal with. I don't know.
And not
Online
only
COD
like
is just gimmicky bullshit.
yeah,
Yeah.
like not only the CDL, like we're talking about more broader, like grassroots COD, like any like tournament, anything, any wagers, like literally any grassroots thing that people might be trying to play to like come up with, like it's like
It's over.
dying. Like you can't
Yeah.
play it because of
It's
that
just-
stuff.
It's just a joke. It's literally
Bro,
just like
like-
stupid.
When EQ came out, legit, like this is not an exaggeration of whatsoever. I'm not like blowing this out of proportion. When you would play ranked, I could not tell the difference between someone that was blatantly hacking and someone that was sound whoring me. Like they're like I would be getting traced through walls, and I'm like, this guy is either literally seeing me through the wall, or he hears me fucking super soldier tack sprinting
Yep.
down the hallway, ready to pre-fire me. Like how like online COD is the worst that it's ever been because of this one fucking setting. It's actually insane. And even if we remove it, like JP said, for competitive, like all S&D tournaments, pubs, Warzone, ranked, it's all fucked. Everything's fucked from this point forward. Sound EQ is the worst thing that has happened to COD in like recent memory.
And it's all just fixable by just one perk. Just make
Yeah.
you dead silent. It's like I mean like you could just get rid of so much problems like if you just did that. Like and it would just be
Yeah.
like so much easier. And also it doesn't help to your point too. Like we don't have to go down this route because we can keep on topic after this, but like the anti-cheats is also miserable. Like when I got on this podcast, the reason why I was like said Warzone 2 sucks, I got hacked on for 3 hours today. We watched 3 people
That's
get live
tough.
banned today. 3 people get live banned after I died to them, of course. And then like people just wall. You have no idea if people are walling anymore because the anti-cheat's just so miserable. Like it's just it's just so much stress like caused from this like not doing stuff thoroughly. It's just like tough. So yeah, I don't know. I hope something trends in the right direction with that. Yeah, we can definitely move on. I think we all kind of collectively agree on a lot of it.
Yeah, I think one to watch. I don't know how fast a lot more additional information is going to come out. There's I think like a campaign reveal in a week or so at like Gamescom in Europe, and that's maybe some information. But the beta this year seems to be more of a network test than an actual like meta or like final QA QC test because the game's probably gold by the time they're doing that beta. So we'll see what we get between them. But some W's, a couple of L's, couple of questions. But we've had worse summers of information right now.
Definitely.
Definitely had worse. So
Yeah.
some positivity. Little copium. All right, let's talk about some quick roster mini stuff. We're going to rapid fire this a little bit and then kind of bam through the viewer questions because some of this stuff is a little bit dated, but we haven't talked about it on episodes because we've been slacking. My fault on that. First up, Seattle rumored roster. And I'm going to start with you on this one, JP, because you know some of these folks. You work with some of these folks. So I want to get your opinion. The rumored situation for Seattle with Rambo coaching the team. Yeah, the rumored team, and we haven't heard anything since then. So I'm thinking that it's the lock team is going to be Alec, aka Arcides, Illy, Hook, and Abuza. So my question to you, JP, obviously you worked with a number of players on this team and obviously a member of a coaching staff that you worked on. Like, what are your thoughts on this team? You think that they made the kind of right decision, kind of circling the wagon with some pre-existing relationships here?
Yeah, I just want to know who's running the second sub.
Abuza.
Okay, then like I don't know that makes it just makes
He's
it
stun
weird
locked.
sense
Look,
to me.
he's stun locked.
Like, I don't want to make any conclusion now because obviously the game hasn't come out and that's not like their decision, but like I don't know, it just feels weird with those players like that set up.
Yeah, it's a fucking terrible idea. Sorry, I mean, just put it
Yeah,
bluntly.
you didn't have to go there.
Do you disagree?
I mean, listen, here's my problem, and I think JP got to it, bro. Like, you've got a number of players here, like first off, Abuza like was frying in challengers. We talked about this last year with Fame. Like, I don't know why you're putting him on a different role. And on top of that, I love Ender, but I think where Ender's skill set might work the best is either being like in a AR flex heavy game or running the main and like putting either him or Abuza on a second sub. Considering some of the duos, you know, like his former team right now, you got Pred and Shotzi,
Or there
you got
is
Simpin and
like
BP for FaZe, you got Kleenex and Envoy now in Toronto. New York's got like Kiz and Hydra. Like,
bro,
I
barring
think the sling impact is tough.
literally barring London Ben, I don't think that there is a sub duo that I would take them over. Kyler and Abuza, I don't think I'm taking over fucking anyone. Like, I would,
Wow.
dude, what? I don't know whose decision it was. I don't know if it was his to just be like, fuck it, I'll run the sub. Like, I hate the gimmick of like removing a known quantity in favor of potential. Like, in like a role situation, not necessarily like a whole player situation, because I think that's a whole different conversation. But removing like Abuza from all of the progress that he has made as a professional Call of Duty player, frying in challengers, like dropping
The reason he's
insane
here.
bombs in Europe, being there's unreal consistency with an AR in favor of like, but what if he's insane? But like, why are we removing what he's already done in favor of like, but he could be insane with a sub? Like, what's the point? Why would we want him to be insane with a sub? He is insane with an AR. So like, again, I don't know if this is like him just being like, yeah, I'll bite the bullet. Like, we don't have a sub player. I don't know why they wouldn't try to get one, or like what the situation is with Seattle, but this roster is like so poorly constructed. And I would love to eat my words. If this guy's Hydra, fuck me, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
this is not the way that you build a roster in the CDL. Period. It's not.
I just assume that they would make him the most comfortable that he could possibly be out of
Like,
all
I just
the
don't get
people,
that how that's
you know?
a role, not even a role swap. The exact opposite of what he was doing. Makes no sense.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's godlike with this.
Maybe fuck it. Maybe he's Hydra and
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Sure, I'll eat my words. I don't care. But like, holy shit, what is the idea there?
Yeah.
I don't
agree.
know. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I don't like. I said it with Fame. It's the same thing with Abuza. Like, I feel like the reason why Abuza is on this team right now is because of what he's done with an AR. That's it. Like, he would, if like realistically, if he ran a sub, maybe he's godlike with the sub and challengers too. He'd be here the same thing. But I just feel like he was just so good. Like all I've heard about this guy is that he's fucking God himself with an AR for the last like year now.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he's on this roster because of that. And then like now he's just running a sub. And like the only way this makes any sense is if their sub player that they get, like their fifth man, is like a sub that is like ready to replace. Like you have someone in line just in case this doesn't work out. And maybe it's not the worst idea, but like, yeah, I just agree. I feel like the reason why this guy is here is because of how good he's been with an AR. And I think like now you're forcing him to be in like a super tough position where it's just like, why? You know, like, I don't know. You had the whole entire offseason to do that. I mean, again, maybe there is something we don't know where like he's sitting there saying like, trust me, I can run the sub better than you do. Like maybe like there's something that we don't know, but it just Gwynn's the fifth
maybe
man.
it's his decision, bro. Maybe it is, and
Yeah,
we'll
I
just
don't
have to see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. It's
All right,
definitely interesting.
well, let's move on. We're talk about one more roster move, which is Capsidal getting locked in on Boston. I know we've talked about a past on the show about what we thought Boston should do once Preston became available and that, and they decided to bring back a former player in Capsidal, one who was on had a brief stint on LA Thieves last season in a cameo role, kind of all the thing a little bit with Florida, has upside. I want to start with you, Sam Octane, since I know you seen a little bit with him this year. Thoughts on Capsidal? Do you like the move for Boston?
I really like the move. There was only like a couple of players that I wanted to see complete their roster, and he was definitely one of them. I like Cap. He's insane S&D. We played with him for like a week because Ken wasn't feeling well. But the potential was definitely there. He's just a good dude out of game as well. He's super easy to get along with, which is really important, I think, if you're going to be a successful team. So I'm happy that he got the second opportunity with Boston. I'm happy he's playing with players like Austin and Preston because they can definitely steer him in the right direction because he does have a tendency to make a lot of mistakes, which is kind of like par for the course when you play the way that he does. My only concern with this team is if they don't do well at the beginning of the game, like if it's not just like we're going to bail ourselves out with like gun skill kind of situation, I think their sub duo could be in pretty hot water because both of them play at a pretty getting shots at comparisons last year. Cap sprints a lot. Like inherently with their sub duo, they don't have that slower. No, I hate using the term route guy, but like just that slower pace up. Like you need like a head basher, like you're a Beezy. You need someone that takes their time, like Chris or Sim. So both of them running all the time is inherently going to create a lot of mistakes. So how they decide to like navigate that is going to be basically the make or break for this roster. But I'm happy Cap got the spot because I think he's unreal talent for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just get my thoughts and I'm gonna kick it to Chris. Like, I agree with you, Sam, but I think that I think that Boston bringing up Preston and Austin to work on those potential issues and figure out how to work around that, I think is the best thing that they could have done. So to finally like try the crazy aggressive sub duo with good experience on the back line, like this is like a make or break for that system and how it works. But I'm curious your thoughts, Chris.
I mean, I think Capsidal is the right move. I think Capsidal with people like Preston and Austin, like Slasher and Priesta around him to help him out too, will be nice. Like I think like they're definitely set up for. I think they made a pretty good offseason move just in general, like forming this roster. I like that Cap's back in the league. I think he should have been back in the league, and there's just I agree with Sam. Like obviously having your two subs just constantly going crazy, like is like a little bit much sometimes, but I also know like people like Austin and especially even Preston too, like I feel like they're gonna form a pretty much a good system to kind of like negate that as much as they can.
They have
so,
the
like,
awareness.
Yeah, like it's like Austin's not gonna like watch a scrim and be like, oh, like I don't know what like he's gonna be like, what the fuck are you two doing? You know what I mean? Like so like I think like they're gonna have a pretty good system in place with that. So I think with this team, like I think they'll fix a lot of the problems that they've recently had in the past of the Boston history of just like what's been going wrong for them. So I like the move. I think this was the best move they could have made to complete their roster out of all the options they had personally. So
JP, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same as these two. Like the problem that with the two subs is kind of similar to what we had with Kyler and Ant sometimes. And in terms of like them two both trying to do too much sometimes where they're doing the same thing. So I mean, they have Austin and Preston to like identify that problem. So that's like pretty much all you could need at the start of the game, at least. But it'll be interesting to see if they can tailor their ways to that.
Yeah, and to like ask you a question, sorry Ben, but like it's like as much as like you can identify that problem too, like a lot of it will also like Snoopy's new, so is Cap. Cap's relatively new too. It's like, how much are you going to change that too? Because I still think like instincts kick in at the highest level when you're playing like, you know, on that main stage in an important match, an important map, whatever, you know, 200 hard point. Don't make the overextend play and die and get 60. Do you know what I mean? Like that's where like your instincts do kick in. And like a lot of people, it takes a while to get better with that throughout your years of COD. It really does. Like it really does take a very long time to get like over those like the issues in your game. So as much as it can be identified, that could be a worry. But I think a lot of it just relies on like Snoopy being super moldable by like the team and the coaching staff and stuff. I think if he is, and I think this team could be a lot better than people think, but we'll see.
I just think I just shout out to Boston real quick though, because like I feel like since they've joined the league, they have definitely put the ambiance out there that they want to win, and they're constantly like trying to strive for that.
Like you see the effort
just
there.
Yeah, like they're making constant roster changes, which can be a good and a bad thing, but at least they're trying to show initiative in some way. They're dipping into the challengers pool. They did it all of last year with all of their changes. They spent big money over the offseason. There was a huge rumor contracts thrown around the league. Like Boston was a destination that people like actually gravitated towards.
Yes.
So I like shout out to Boston since they joined the league, man, because they seem like they actually want to be here as opposed to a lot of other orgs that are just like, fuck it, we'll just get a team
rolling over and dying.
Exactly. We'll see what happens.
Yes.
So I definitely want to give a shout out to them for securing the 5th market spot for sure.
Well, because I'm
excited. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just saying. I just feel. Yeah, I feel like a lot of teams like I feel like Boston came in late and they did not come in a favorable position at all. And like I just feel like they're doing it way more correct. Even on the staff side of things though too. Like I feel like they hired a coach. They hired Dens. They got everything they needed to like really like put a lot of effort into like constructing rosters too. Where I feel like what you said now, like I hope the bottom teams stop doing what they're doing. Or at least some sort of it, because it's kind of annoying watching it too. To be honest, it's just kind of stupid. Like correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, but there's like last year, like there was not a chance in hell you thought LAG was going to be good last year. No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like there's like team like London, same thing. Like it's just like I feel like that's just like what are we doing? Like, I don't know, but yeah, keep going.
Well, I think on the Boston end, one thing to kind of add there, I really like Denz and Zed's new podcast because one thing they went through last year is they kind of tried out everybody, and I think kind of the PR side of it they need some work on. So I'm glad that they're now like kind of explaining their moves and their thinking, and I really just sort of like for the fresh vibes coming from the Boston camp and what they've got going on there. I'm excited to see them step up to the big boys. I think this is possibly a roster that can do it. I'm really excited to watch this team. Austin and Preston have done it with plenty of young players in the past, and if anyone's going to figure it out, it's them. And I hope that they make a good team because adding a 5th, we have a pretty, I think, top-heavy situation right now on paper.
They're definitively the 5th best team, though.
But I feel like they're the 5th best
for
team.
sure.
And I feel like they can maybe make some noise. So more roster mania stuff. We're still waiting on LA Thieves to announce. Sam, I don't know why you're holding back that roster announcement. I don't know what's going on.
I'm in it.
There, you're in
Are
it?
you?
I'm in it.
Let's go.
Well, where is it? Where is it? We're waiting for the information. Like, what's going on here?
No, don't ask me.
Where is it? I'm gonna go pull up the LA Thieves headquarters, and I'm in LA next week.
Ask Austin; he'll be tweeting you.
Ask Austin and Mr. Shot what's going on there.
There you go.
Cool. Well, we got some viewer questions. We're gonna bang through 2 really good ones. We got to everybody that submitted them on Twitter. First one's from Enix. This one's tied into what you said, Chris, which is why I'm going with this one first. It's actually a good jumping on point. It's a little bit of a take and then a question. So for me, Nick, some of the bottom 6 teams are a definition of Friendship League. And if you guys don't know what Friendship League is, basically players circling the wagon with players that they've teamed before, their friends, over maybe better options. From Enix's perspective, he thinks that some of these teams, or they think some of these teams, could have been built bigger. Like, what do we think should be put in place to maybe prevent some of these teams from making the same sort of roster construction mistakes they've been making over the last couple of years, and why teams like London and LAG have struggled to really be relevant in the CDL? I'm going to start with you, JP.
I don't know, just making people or getting people who can make the decisions the correct way, I guess. I don't know.
There's a lot of ways to answer this question.
There's a lot of ways.
You could go money, but the ability to actually buy the players and become a destination, similarly to what Boston did. Go what JP said, hire people that actually know what the fuck is going on, as opposed to people coming outside of COD that just see names and have no idea what those names mean within the space because they're not just inherently here. There's a lot of different get rid of the players that they've been garnering for a super long time. This is no knock to Donnie, but like we'll just use him as an example because he's been there. Like get rid of Don. Like try to figure out, move on from these players. Like They brought in Clay, changed the team dynamic. Vegas started to contend this year, and they almost made it to champs. Like you just need like very drastic culture shifts. If you're not going to spend the money, if you're not going to start throwing six figures at players to make yourself a destination, you need a drastic culture change within your system.
Yeah.
And I think Clay did a super good job. Again, I'll use them as an example of that last year. Vegas was fucking dog shit for like 3 years straight. Clay came in and they almost qualified for champs. They were making upsets. They 150 point came back on us on a hotel. Like there needs to be a huge shift in either money or culture in order to drive talent to your org. Period.
I think that is a fair way to phrase it. I think some of it is, some of these orgs didn't have like it's weird because some of these orgs came in didn't have institutional knowledge. That's why you saw some weird rosters like getting formed. That's why you got set up on like Seattle, for
You still
example.
know what if you don't hire people within the space, you're just coming and throwing money. Nothing good is going to come of that.
But I think here's the point I want to get to is like, and let's talk about LAG. They had they brought in institutional knowledge, but they kept making like the wrong decision. They kept saying, "Oh well, we're going from like Modern Warfare 2019 Slide Cancelville to Cold War, and this is more of like maybe a traditional boots game. Let's try and get a trio of players that won 3 years ago." And it's like, well, no, now you're making the classic mistake of like, you can circle the wagons, but if you're circling the wagons from 4 years ago, like it may not hit the same. Things are different. New players are in. Like, I think to the question, the problem comes down to like just these organizations not having the right people making decisions, letting players make roster decisions who have their own biases, and it just isn't a collective thought process on like either building the system you want or building the any system at all. What do you think, Grace?
I mean, bro, what Sam said is just spot on. There's really nothing else to say. Like I just feel like the teams that are built, like I know that stemmed from the question of like the friendship league stuff. I don't really think it's a friendship league. Like obviously there is some politicking to it.
Familiarity league.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Like it's definitely not like a friendship based league in that sense where like people are making decisions straight off that. I just think like, yeah, some of the people that are in positions to get this stuff just don't know what they're doing. Like they just don't know the scene in and out. And like, and I still think there's a lot of people that were just closer to the scene, maybe not anymore, that could have just been hired, or you should have tried to take a stab at some of these guys to like actually run your side of like making a team and building the culture and all the other stuff. Like what Sam said about the culture stuff is just like, that is like what you need to do. Like, bro, if you don't have the money where you're just going to go buy like super players, obviously, and form some crazy team, like you have to have at least the culture and the staff to like work hard. I just feel
Boston's literally the blueprint.
Yeah, no,
like
seriously.
Like what they did year to year is the blueprint of how you get from the trenches of being in the league to being the 5th best definitive roster. Like
and like having a chance.
Yeah, like they hired endemic talent or endemic people to go with Zed and Dens.
Mm-hmm.
They created a literal farm system with their fucking challengers team. And they just fucking plug and play,
trying to figure it out.
Things that work. They found Snoopy. They trust him to be on their starting CDL roster. They had Beans, Cramp, like all these people, and they granted most of them didn't work out, but they found what they think to be a diamond in the rough. Like there's a lot of things. That's another thing that a lot of
I want to give credit to Toronto
talent
because Toronto basically did that MW
for sure.
Right,
100%. Yeah,
and like they were the team where people were like, oh, like they're making moves that like no one else was willing to do.
They have a B team.
They made those teams. They made the B team, but you know they got Kleenex and Insight out of it. They got scrapped from their and Hixie from their like academy roster.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's another blueprint.
Like that's what you have to do. And like again, like it just feels like a lot of the teams that do just kind of suck right now or have been sucking. Also, like again, like their culture at the bottom of it is just terrible too. Like it just looks like it just doesn't even look like there's any like sign of life ever there. Like there's no
that all filters and just creates a circle with challengers too, because people are so reluctant to actually dip into challengers. I think it's definitely skewing in the right direction because there's a lot more roster changes than there were. There used to be like 3 players a year that you would see, and now obviously people I think are starting to lean towards that a little bit more. But there's a lot of teams that just refuse to have a challenger team or refuse to look at any sort of like developing player thing, which I think Toronto and Boston have done a phenomenal job of, and they have fucking unbelievable players in Toby, Jamie, like Snoopy this year. Like there's a lot of these examples that all these other orgs see happening and just refuse to do anything about. There's players that have been in that we'll use like Pentagram for example. Like He's been in challenges for fucking ever. He's never gotten a starting CDL spot. It was unfortunate with our team on LAT because that was just a roster he was never going to be able to join. But there are players on there that are definitively extremely good and just refuse to get shots because there's not enough orgs that are in the league willing to make those opportunities happen for them.
Yep.
And it's just that's how you do it. That's how you create good teams.
We're gonna put a pin in this because I want to on another episode really go through like if the CDL moves to CWL, how it might affect this teams, all that stuff. Because I think there's another 50-minute conversation to be had. But I want to get to sort of the last question. Actually, no, we talked about this already. That's actually the last one because the last question was what's taking LAT so long to announce from Kano. But unfortunately, I already used that joke earlier with Sam, so now we can't fucking do that question. Damn, I actually just fucking tossed. That's actually so tragic. Yeah, I got a backup question.
Okay.
And we're gonna start with Sam on this one. This one is from Slow on Twitter. What's the most beautiful play in a game that you can remember? So I'll go to you, Sam. Either a play that
Beautiful
you made
play.
or one that your teammate made in a game.
Beautiful play.
Beautiful
Yeah.
play. I'm trying to think.
Actually, the one that comes to mind, I don't remember the series. JP, you might. It was against OpTic on Berlin S&D. It was a Dylan 1v2 on B bomb or A bomb. It was the first one.
I was on
like
New
the
York
little.
during
You're on New York when we were okay.
Yeah.
Well, we were playing OpTic. I think it was one of the majors. But Dill was in a 1v2 and he like got a kill, finessed the bomb, like didn't check when he could have, and like he just ended up not defusing. It was like a fucking nuts play. That's just the first thing that popped into my head though. I don't know. It's just a lot of like S&D clutches to be honest.
Yeah,
It's all
like
going to be
Mercs
S&D for the most part.
The
Yeah.
Mercs 1v2 at Champs always comes to mind.
Mhm.
Like
That's
the
a crazy
nade.
one.
Yeah.
Simp on fucking Arsenal.
Yeah,
statue.
that
Yeah,
one's
dude.
that one's up there for sure.
Yeah.
Or Brandon, I watched this yesterday. It's funny. I did the fucking YouTube video on it. But when Brandon like quick scoped through the door on Arsenal just randomly and got the kill, shit like that. Just like how does that even
Absolute
happen?
back bullshit right there.
Yeah, I don't know. There's been a lot of examples of that.
There's a good Clay snipe clip from the beginning of AW. He had an insane sniper clip on fucking
Oh, Detroit.
on Detroit. That was
Yeah,
actually
I do
wild.
remember that one.
That was at an
He
event,
like
everybody
black
flipped
scoped
out.
him.
Yeah,
Bro,
it was,
AW
yeah.
had AW had a lot of crazy beautiful plays because like the movement that you can do, like the finesse of it is just like so smooth. Honestly, bro, with the talent nowadays compared to back then too, I would love to watch AW now. Like just with like
I watch it every now and then, and it looks crazy.
And like, bro, like
people are getting turned on.
things were still so new. Like there wasn't salaries. Like people again, like half the people had jobs. Like it was still like kind of like right in the middle before it became like really serious.
Yeah.
I would love to watch AW now with like fucking BZ, Shotzi, Celium, fucking Dashy,
like,
all the like just fuck, dude. What a bloodbath, bro!
Around every corner. You guys remember that?
Dude, oh my god, I do remember that. The freaking belly flop,
hot pocket,
yeah, the little belly
frog
flop,
splashing,
bro. Dude, like just watching. I feel like watching some of the teams nowadays, like all these guys, like High Drag, all these crackheads, just play like a game like that. Would be
then there'd be
nuts.
Pred laying down in a jetpack game.
Well, we'd love to have jetpacks back, but it doesn't seem like there's too much momentum on the developer side to bring them back, which is unfortunate.
No chance.
I think if we got a Black Ops 3 style game again, I think it would absolutely pop. But
that'd be nice too. Yeah.
Then eventually they're gonna be like, "Fuck, we need to like really innovate in Warzone." You know, we used to have jetpack
put it in
wall
the air.
running. Let's bring that to Warzone and like
Heavy Metal Hero style.
do more like Apex, like fucking Titanfall shit. But whatever. I think that'll do it. Not a super long episode, just kind of quiet timing. I think Chris, one thing you and I need to do. We promised we can do a couple of episodes that were like workshop episodes. So I'm gonna work with you when I tell you next week. We'll schedule those out. And also, I know you and I are working on some really cool interviews. Some people we're trying to get on the show. Hopefully,
we are working on that. Yeah.
Hopefully, we can get those people to come on. We're trying to get we're trying to get some industry people and also some CDL owners to come on. Things to be a really cool platform for them to speak on kind of their thoughts on the scene. I know there's a lot being talked about the business of esports, business CDL, Activision merger with Microsoft, all that stuff. We're trying to get some CDL ownership on and kind of really speak to all of those things and sort of where people's those owners' minds are long-term, short-term, what have you. But first, I'll let you do the rest of the outro.
Yeah, no, I mean, JP, Sam, I appreciate you guys both obviously being guests on the show. You guys are always welcome back. And everybody else that was commenting in the chats and all that stuff, we all appreciate you guys watching. This was the 18th episode, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, we're gonna try and get back on track. Yeah, dude, we're gonna try and get back on track with everything. But yeah, this should be uploaded to YouTube, and then all the stuff in the description below will be your audio links and all that stuff will be in the description below with all that stuff. And then Ben, of course, I appreciate you obviously setting all this up. Ben's the GOAT when it comes to getting guests and everything else. I'm just kind of
When
here and I
producer
talk.
when.
So yeah. Let's get some
No,
wins in
I've
the
been
chat.
I've been L producer. With this
You've
show
been L
recently. I gotta get more
producing,
guests.
but when you do produce, you don't miss. You know, there's just a difference.
That's
Like
good.
it's
That's
just,
good,
yeah,
guys.
it's
That's
like
good, guys.
you do when you do that, you hit the nail on the head. But and
You must
also
be
we
doing
do
your real fucking
have
job, then.
we do have the Twitter for the Scrap Time now. It's a Scrap Time Pod right there. It's in the chat. That'll be in the description below too if you guys want more updates and clips and all that stuff too. That's where you're gonna get it. So I appreciate everyone watching episode 18 with JP and Sam, and we'll see you guys next one. Let's go.